everybody, and welcome back to Owlet. We are still on week 1, but we're on to day 2, and we're still on round 1. I'm Bemmie. Along with me is also my good buddy and new friend, Chaos Theory. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. I'm glad to be here today.
Going to be in the minors division, buddy, and we're going to be seeing Licorice Whip versus Peppermint Tea. If you didn't think the series was going to be sweet enough already, it's in the name itself. So, Chaos, we both know about Licorice Whip at least. We're not too familiar with Peppermint, but what can we say a little bit about Licorice?
From what I know, last year Licorice Whip, or not last year, last season, I guess it would be. I believe it was earlier this year, and seems like such a long time ago now. But
Right.
Licorice Whip, they came in really positive, really energetic team. Unfortunately, they had a rough season, didn't do too well at the start. Kind of started picking up towards the end. Looking to really see what improvements they've made this season. See a lot of new faces on the team. It looks like might be different names. I'm not sure. But I'm
It's
looking
fair
forward to see
enough.
what they're bringing.
I'm looking forward to seeing if they can improve as well. And I'm glad they're back into the next season. So I'm glad they are not deterred and they feel like they could carry that momentum over, even though it's been a little while ago. Peppermint Tea, again, we're not too familiar with the teams, but, we could talk about the map, which I think is also another good talking point as well. So we're going to be starting on Elios as well, which is what in Elios do you like seeing the most nowadays? Because with control point maps, people are kind of getting a little bit iffy because they want to go for the environmental kills, but then the double shield meta comes into play.
Ilios itself is a fun map. Some people hate it, some people love it. The maps themselves are very diverse in how they're played. For example, Well is kind of a bait game, as you mentioned. Lots of environmental kills on that map. You probably might see a Roadhog come out here. A lot of people try to switch to him for a comfort pick. But then you have Ruins, which is a map where we're probably going to see the Mercy Pharah combination come out once again, and you're going to see them probably try to dominate the air into a double barrier. We're not quite at the level of Overwatch League, so I think we might be in for a treat for some special, plays here or there
Yeah,
coming into the minors division here. So we might not see as much. I think we're going to see a lot of double shield, but I think we might see some interesting plays come out here from these two teams.
I agree. I think we're going to be seeing a little bit of different tech choices. We may not even see the double shield meta. While it is meta, a lot of people I see on the lower tier side, if you will, not to be disrespectful of their skill level, but a lot of lower divisions, if you will, tend to run Death Ball with the Reinhardt Zarya. That tends to be a comfortable play because it's very straightforward. On top of that, a lot of the times you can complement with a lot of aggressive DPS plays because you can bubble them and the Zarya gets supercharged. And we're going to be starting on the Ruins, so we'll see who can control. I think honestly I wouldn't be surprised to see the pharmacy. I see less and less of the widow duels happening in Ruins, but I don't know about you.
Yeah,
Chaos.
unfortunately, I feel like at any level, currently the double barrier meta is just really strong. I think even just any barrier, especially with Sigma and his ability to put the barrier right in the face, Widow really loses a lot of her value. Not to say she's weak at all, because she and Hanzo are still as OP as ever. It's just a shift as far as characters and how they kind
Yeah,
of work with one another.
if any is like
Um,
Hanzo.
yeah, I think we might see some Hanzo, we might see some Sombra. This is one of those maps where I like because you kind of have some options. So we can
Sure.
say we're going to see it kind of coming out here. Looks like we're actually going to be starting, as you said, with the Ryan Zarya May kind of death comp on the side of, I believe that's Licorice Whip in the red, and Peppermint
Correct.
or Peppermint Twist. I believe it is on the left here in the blue, choosing to go with the Reaper route with the May, so they're going a little bit more standard. But we're seeing the Rhine, which is an interesting thing, and I'm excited to see as a Rhine main myself. But we're going to get started here in just a second. I think we're going to probably see Peppermint Tea really try to hold down the point while we see Licorice Whip try to kind of play around a bit more.
Yeah,
And
true. Especially with the Hanzo just kind of skittish about using the Storm Arrows just to break shields whatever they can. And we're going to see how they go into this dealing with Misfit on the May. That could be really used to get the Ice Wall off the main take. Barely almost gets it, but doesn't quite. They're going to try to do what they can. They got the main take out of the way, but another Ice Wall coming in for Tomiko is going to help a lot to keep the team stable and still together. However, there is going to be Sarah going down, unfortunately, and there it is. A nice bubble onto Tomiko coming in from the Zarya, but it's not going to be enough for them to win the fight. They're just going to try to get out with as little as damage as possible. And now here comes Peppermint being the aggressors at the moment.
Yeah, losing your main tank in a fight early like that is a very big issue in this kind of meta. I mean, in any real meta, for that example,
Yeah.
too. Losing your main tank can cripple your team. One thing I'd like to see in this next fight here is I'd like to see, well, we have it swapped to a Pharah now, but the Hanzo should have been taking more high ground. But we're going to get right in this next fight here, and I'll let you take over.
Yeah, things definitely I do like the Pharah pick though, because there is no hit scan, no answers to that, and there it is, right off the back, taking out a main tank. Coalescent comes out though. Wonder how they will survive and deal with this. Don't know if they're really too worried about it. Espresso, by the way, almost had the barrage impressively enough. Tamika will go down, unfortunately. However, they're not really out of the fight yet. There is the Valkyrie really focused on trying to boost up the damage, but probably maybe should have kept healing the team. They were just experiencing so much. And Espresso, yeah, they're finding a lot of follow-up kills and doing what they can, but they're just getting trades, and it's not really what you want to do when you're trying to take over the point there, Chaos.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there, Bemmie. And in that kind of fight there, I feel like they're almost being a little bit too aggressive coming from the Licorice whip side of things there. They have the opportunity with the far, as you said, Espresso's doing damage, getting the ult up already at Barrage, just swapped not even a minute ago.
Yeah.
And, that's really impressive right there. But the thing is, like, they're not really giving that far a chance to do the work. They got an early pick, but then they immediately try to collapse and lose their team. That's
Well,
not what you really want to be doing.
No, and you don't want to be using your Earth Shatter in front of an Ice Wall. It doesn't help out, but the Barrage comes out from Espresso, but the Blizzard's kind of huge, but they took out so many people that it's not going to be as impactful, but Drunken Monk does manage to do a double K, and that also takes out the Mercy, but there's a Sound Barrier coming in. That actually might buy enough time for the rest of the team to get back, and this could make things really awkward. They're dropping the grab, seeing if they can flip over the point. This is kind of now do or die. They can't leave this point. They switch over to Doomfist on Misfit, foregoing that, but they already get shut down by Sarah, switching over to the Wrecking Ball, and I like this a lot. This is really clever of them, just to be able to come back and contest and have that strong body in mind and going into it. Earthshatter comes out. Tomiko's going to get flattened like a pancake, unless looks like Sathera has something to say about that, and the Blizzard comes out from Tomiko just to zone out everybody and put them in the backs against the wall. Looks pretty good, but however, with that, Drunken Monk switches over to the Widow. We're seeing a lot of switching over to DPS, and there's that Widow we weren't expecting, but it still came out. They flip over the point. They managed to do it, and fortunately for both sides, it was costly for the side of Licorice Whip. So Licorice Whip does have some even playing field right now, Chaos.
Yeah, coming into that last fight there, I really was hoping to see Peppermint Tea there really kind of pick up on the communication. It seemed like they kind of fell apart towards the end there. They let the Mercy get a key res off on the Zarya. You never want to see that happen. No one's calling it out. Next fight starting Misfit already getting an early pick there on the Zarya coming in this next fight though.
Bubble's gone as well, and Kenzari gone. This Doomfist is such a great choice. I was actually expecting seeing the Doomfist earlier here, because Doomfist is also a good flanking option, especially in Ruins. You don't have to worry about needing to use any of your resources to recover coming off the ground. But, alright, right off the bat, good landmines. They're trying their best to buy some time. Sarah doing a really good job here, buying what they can. Sound Barrier comes out, keeps him alive. This looks really good, but they're switching so much that they don't really have any way to respond to these ultimates on the side of Licorice. So, while these switches have been great, they haven't been really super, I don't know, beneficial, if you will. The Wick will go down. They're going to contest just barely, but I don't know how you're going to come back from this.
Really making a difference for them here, though. It's really what you like to see. It's good stalls coming in, but I think this point's going to go the way of Peppermint Tea here in the end. As you said, the ultimate's really coming through for them. Not really much of an answer on the side of Licorice Whip.
Yeah,
and
it's a lot of switching.
That's really costly for them in these kinds of fights. But I do agree, the Doomfist plays were actually Misfit on the Doomfist, really making a name for himself there and really showing that he can do the work there. Doomfist really popular in the current meta, and I'd like to see more of him as well.
Yeah.
Just it's one of those things where he's so
even as
strong
a
right now. Even as a Rhine mate. It's a bit painful, but you have to understand that teams like this, I like to see them play because they have to understand how strong he is in the current meta.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that they refuse to use him is a bit worrisome in a lot of ways.
Sure. Yeah, I agree with you. And, I'm not against switching over DPSs and such, but you got to be careful sometimes that you are gonna just be at an ult disadvantage, especially if you're trying to fight back for that point. But here we go. Pharmacy coming out for the Licorice Whip. They're looking pretty good. And they were predicting this. A good read, having Espresso on that Ash, the hit scan, and they're just gonna rush right to the point fighting for this. And I like this that they have the Wrecking Ball as opposed to the the Roadhog, so now they're not really worried about it. Tamika winning that fight as well. Taking out the Pharmacy altogether is going to be huge. They will be able to get this first initial point. And Ari right off the bat, good target prioritization, a clean fight overall, and I really like the disruption from the Wrecking Ball.
Yeah,
Sarah's
now
been
we're
really
just having
strong.
some cleanup really coming in here. And I
Mm.
think I agree with you there. In this situation, the Pharah duels are really what's going to, I think, make or break this team. There's very good control on the side of Peppermint T as far as point control, but they have to get the point first before they're able to actually hold that down.
Right.
That's going to be the difficult part. Glad to see
Well,
them already swapping off to the McCree, though. They want to take that out. Seems like they decided they can't win that fight by themselves.
yeah, and Ari right off the bat, like you said, Drunken Monk making the numbers work, and Tamiko goes down, not in a safe place to rest. However, they come back, and they do manage to rest Pearl, so that means the AoE healing is still going to work out for them. They lose Kitty's process, but that means they still have the Lucio, and they're actually finding stuff. Alia will go down, so this is a pretty close fight, but I think overall, with the sliver of health remaining on a bunch of the majority of the team, able to just pretty much get them out of the way, they are pretty much still good to hold on to this chaos for a little bit longer, and they got some good ult charge out of that too.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. It's one of those situations where now the ults are coming online, especially in the favor of Licorice Whip. They have almost actually 5 of their 6 ults. The only one they're missing really is Cythera, and they used it recently. So I think we're probably going to see the Lucio beat come out as a counteraction to either Shatter or something down the line here. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there.
Also have to wait and see how well they stay in the back line as well as the Lucio. You really kind of hang out back there. Air Shatter comes out. Lucio was not able to drop it in time, but there's Tamiko dropping the Barrage. Find a couple of members, they're able to get the third. The Valkyrie helping out along with the Bob. It was a really expensive fight to hold on to that, but I think it might have been enough because I don't think they'll be able to contest in time.
Yeah, coming in this site, we're
Wow.
gonna be up even here on Well, which excites me. As I said though, it looks like we're probably gonna be seeing some Hog Orisa or some kind of pools or environmental kills coming in this next map, I'm sure. We've yet to really see any Sigma, which is kind of surprising to me.
It's a new hero, so maybe they're not really comfortable quite with it yet. Yes, it's been around for a little bit now, but like competitive wise, as opposed to just solo queue and ladder, it's a very different experience.
I can agree with that, but looks like we might actually be seeing that change come out here from Cythera, so we might be seeing the double shield come out here, but it looks like Drake and Bake is going to be on the Hog, which kind of excites me, because I want to see if he's able to actually get some pulls into the Well, which could be key here for them in these upcoming fights here on this map. Well itself is one of the fun maps where a lot of people try for it. I think we're probably going to be seeing maybe some Reddit Lucio, some Reddit Hog, coming in here.
Fair
It's
too.
a bit of a lower rank, but it's one of those things that makes it exciting.
Well, fair also, you can't discount that. There's a lot of boot potential, if you will, but I do like the double shield. It does deny that Roadhog's ability to actually get the value of the hook, because you're pretty much just denying them at every corner. So looking really good. Tamiko, super low in health, does get taken out, and Kittens goes down as well. This is pretty big. That means that the point is going to go immediately over to Peppermint. That was such a huge pick. Great stuff from Misfit, staying on the other side.
Yeah, that was definitely an early fight win for them there. You really saw them make a good play there. Once the pharmacy's down, a lot of the air is just now on the side of the enemy, and you have too many angles to really defend yourself from. So you're really just going to see them kind of push that. You want to push that advantage. You have a healer down, you have the DPS down, and right now that's basically akin to a loss almost.
Yeah, pretty much. I agree. And like the control of this guys is so important. Wait and see how they go. They're going to engage from the other side now. A little bit more cover and closer to some health packs. Able to disengage a lot more easily. And they're going to try to cover as much ground as they can. Tamiko's just so low to the ground, though. It really does concern me. And a huge hook. They managed to get the boot, but you don't want to trade when you're trying to flip back over the point in your favor. And they need to disengage if they can, or just at least get this fight over with. And they will be not wasting time at all on the side of Peppermint.
Yeah, one issue I'm seeing coming out pretty often here on the side of Licorice Whip that I think you made note of too, with Sigma being a new character, is they're not properly really making use of that Sigma barrier. They're deploying it way too early and having it kind of get burst down
Yeah.
too quickly. So when the Orisa barrier goes down, they don't quite have one left. But we're gonna see the Diva come out here. Interesting pick, kind of weak against the Hog, so we'll have to see how they play out.
Yeah, it's not the strongest of tanks nowadays, especially with the nerfs and just how everything is. I think honestly they should have maybe just used it for the fair. That would have been good. Misfit's been having Barrage ready now. They're saving it for a rainy day. They're looking really good. They haven't really been able to pressure any ults. 80% left. This is kind of last team fight territory overall. So Miko going down again. I I don't know why they're very low to the ground. It's a little bit concerning because we saw Tomiko doing great, just making sure to cover the skies. And there's a barrage coming in from Misfit. Nicely done. Gets Pearl. Rez tries to come out, but not going to be able to do it. Ken's not able to get it. And already off the bat, we're seeing a lot of boops happening. There's going to be the Valkyrie trying to buy some time along with the sound barrier. Supercharger, though, this is pretty much spring cleaning. And this is going to be roughly about it. Wick will go down, and the first map going to go over to Peppermint, but a good fight from Licorice.
Yeah, in that situation, you're just seeing Licorice Whip losing too many of the early fights. You're seeing I always mess up the name. Tomoko. Losing these early fights, as you mentioned, being too close to the ground, playing low against the Pharah, not really focusing on the enemy Pharah, which is what you want to be focusing on in these situations. You don't want to just be ignoring them. Because unfortunately in that situation, that's just going to come back to bite you in the butt.
Yeah.
Because the more you ignore the enemy Pharah, the more freedom not only does she have to rain down on you, but your team as well. And you saw them trying to engage against the shield quite often, but unfortunately, Peppermint, much more concise with their directives there. They would go after the Pharah. They would go after the enemy team. They realized, oh, we're not being targeted with the pharmacy. We can get aggressive with the pharmacy. And they
Yeah.
made that work for them there. And the Hog was very good at bursting down the barriers as well.
Yeah. To be fair to Tomiko, probably is just that maybe there wasn't even enough time to get off the ground because you couldn't even start the fire duel. But it really does. It's interesting that they would kind of push in with the group the way that they were doing. I feel like you want the pharmacy to just kind of give you a wide berth and try to see if they can do a pincer formation. A fair pharmacy coming in from the back is kind of a pesky thing to deal with, but we'll see. It's early into the series if they can turn it back around. Licorice Whip definitely made it close, bringing it 1-1. And with Licorice Whip, their map on Lighthouse was a 0 to 100, as opposed to Peppermint that they actually had to fight the point a little bit on Ruins.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I definitely want to see a little bit more possibly changes coming out from this team. I think they definitely have potential to play other characters there as well. So if maybe the FAR is not working for them to swap it up, we're actually going to be moving into, I believe, Hanamura now, which
Correct.
I'm excited for to see. We're probably going to be seeing some May walls come out again. I think they were doing a pretty good job with the May in those fights as well. So I think their May walls were a little bit better placed than I believe it was Misfit on the May on the side of Peppermint in those early fights. So I want to see if they can make use of that there. Maybe they decide to use a Reaper or something. Right now, currently, it looks like we're avoiding snipers. So I don't know if any of them play snipers. Maybe we'll see some of that here. Hanamura is a good map for this.
We saw it very briefly with Espresso on the Ash, and then we all I think it was Drunken Monk as well on the side of Peppermint. That was also the Ash as well. So we saw at least a little bit of hit scan DPS. As also on top of that, the McCree.
Yeah,
However,
the
I do
McCree we
think it's
did
like
see.
a
It's more
initial
mid
pick.
range.
Yeah, it's basically kind of like a Swiss Army knife of the DPS. It can address things with as a hit scan. It could also deal things with the flank with the right click flashbang,
Mm.
and it can also put a lot of pressure on the shields because of how much damage and the DPS is as well. So overall, really going to be interested to see how they do Hanamura. I actually wouldn't put in past either of these teams to actually go for the Symmetra teleport strat.
I would. I'd be interested to see how they pull that one off. I've definitely seen it a lot, especially at the lower levels. It's gonna really be on to the defending team and how they respond to that, more than the attacking team, because all the attacking team really has to do now is to get the teleporter set up and get in. But I think the defending team and how they respond to that is going to be the important thing if that play comes out here. Do they decide to immediately move and come dense on point, or are they going to try to set up here on the high ground on point A and dish out damage, poke damage to get a pick early and then collapse? So it's really important, I think, in a situation like that, if we see that come out here, for the defensive team to play safe, but at the same time not scared.
Well, Peppermint certainly hasn't been scared from what it looks like on Ilios, so I don't think we're going to see that change of behavior coming in on Hanamura. It's very straightforward, like in Ilios, where your goal is to win the fight, get the point. That's about it. Get as much time as you can on the time bank. So, looking to see what they get here. They're running the bunker, okay? Getting the May out there with the ice wall as well, just to give a little bit of breathing space or isolation, if you will, for Drunken Monk as well. It's always a
Yeah, it
scary
looks like
thought.
we're gonna be seeing possibly the Bastion strat here of setting up and choke with the Bastion lamp. I got to see this in a couple plays in the Majors game. Unfortunately, there was a couple misplaced lamps, which can really kill the composition. So I'm excited to see kind of what they're going to set themselves up for here. Are they going to use it like as an aggressive defense mechanism? Are they just going to save the lamp for emergency situations for their Bastion? We are probably seeing the Symmetra teleport strat, looks like, coming out here, Espresso on the Symmetra. So we might have to see how this works. They might try to set up with the lamp.
Certainly makes it very distressful, but however, Misfit, if they plays a good ice wall, could actually throw this off, wait and see what happens here. Not choosing to do it on the regular high ground, they're just going to go straight to mid using this. A little bit risky, but they are able to set up, and they have the lamp to go into it as well. Now Tomiko just rocking their Bastion as well, hanging in the back with the Espresso's turrets, and they're looking pretty good. Both lamps almost about to go down. However, the lamp is lasting a really long time just in the position that it is. Does go down, so now there's not a lot of protection as there would be. They just got to break the shield and they'll be okay. Misfit going down, the Symmetra turrets. You always got to watch out for those. Tomiko able to get everybody, Yojo, and there it is. That is just going to be the wipe right there. Nicely done. Just packed themselves in a little corner, hibernated for winter, and then came out for spring, and they sprung on them. So Chaos, really efficient stuff. What do you think happened there? Do you think it was just basically they had to commit to the fight and they didn't know where to place the shields, or?
That's one of those situations where you really see kind of a fight of attrition. You have this opportunity where you need to set up. We're going to see the Baptiste window coming out, though, and the Angry Bastion coming from Licorice Whip. So we'll have to see if they're able to make this work.
Lane got shut down.
Coming in, though.
Yeah. However, Lane got shut down, so that basically the Matrix was able to find somebody. Espresso going down is not good because they would love that wall to just push it a little more aggressively. They wanted this push to be the push, I have a feeling. Already. Oh, no, that's actually the flex coming in from Draken, and that's going to be fine with the Coalescence in response. However, we'll see if that helps out with the Supercharger coming in and make things difficult. Misfit going down. Looks like they're able to come back in the nick of time, but Sarah also very low in health as well. Flux comes back on the other way. Cythera finally dropping their own. Matrix, again, trying to put in the work here. The Blizzard, however, step right out the door. They will get frozen, but there's not a lot of ways of following up, but it might be just okay. They do manage to get a couple of players. And, yeah, they're just going to have to take this on the chin. Yeah.
Clean up here coming out on the side of Peppermint Tea there. One thing I would like to see, though, is when that Mayot is up, more communication. Reaper a bit out of position there, going after the Moira instead of those who are frozen. Definitely could have made a little bit better of a faster cleanup there. Maybe got some more ult charge, but he's already at 100% now, so it's not much of a threat. We'll have to see if he decides to stay on that. Coming in this next fight, though, one thing I'd like to see more pressure coming on the side of Peppermint Tea. They had a great pick there on Espresso early on in that first fight, but they just did not press on it. So we're going to be seeing Reaper come out from both sides here, so a lot more close quarters combat.
I like this, though. There's double shield on both sides. You want to break those shields as quick as you can. This is a good tank buster right here. Sarah going down, though, that's really unfortunate. That was, I think, a little bit of a misplacement with the Immortality Field. Just kind of dropped a little too far and angled in an awkward way. So now they have to kind of back up and disengage. Fortunately, though, for them, they do have technically ult advantage plus time bank. It's pretty
Yeah,
good.
Misfits there though, great Mei wall, great use of the Mei wall. This is one of those tough situations where you're playing into a Mei and you got to avoid your team getting trapped on the other side. In this situation, you really want to bait it out with either your Mei or your Reaper or somebody who can get out without dying. You do not want to be sending your Orisa in first because that unfortunately will end up with them dying and you losing the advantage of your main tank. But the next fight's going to get started here. Another good Mei wall to separate the teams though.
Separates the teams not too bad though. They kind of all jump down together just so they can stay as a group. And now Yojo's kind of in this weird position where they're just kind of in this pit. Blizzard comes out, got eaten by Cythera. I keep forgetting that the Sigma eats this. It's so crazy to me. But here comes a rock, and they shut down also the Coalescence as well. This is Cythera popping off right now with the Flux as well coming in. Here we go. This is where you can start making at least a few ticks to your name. Misfit, however, left uncontested for a little bit longer, so the team's able to make it back in enough time. But Drunken Monk, low on health. We'll see what they can do. They do get trade. Espresso goes down.
The Espresso is going to hurt them in the long run.
Keep going. Yeah, Espresso. I mean, that was a lot of their damage for sure, but like, yeah, there we go. Like you said, Chaos, they are just going to be pretty much getting shut down here and no chance of a tick. You're basically giving alt charge at this point.
Yeah, unfortunately, in situations like that, it's one of those things where if you lose somebody on point being a fight like this, especially one of your DPS or one of your healers, unfortunately, your fight's pretty much over at that point, unless you can return that pick almost instantaneously, or for some reason you're staggering the enemy team, your fight's pretty much over. But Cythera really, really making their presence known in that last fight there. Kind of sad to be swapping them off the Sigma because that last fight really was a very good job on their part.
Yeah, it was
Fantastic work on the
amazing.
Sigma. They made good use of the eat. One of those things, Sigma's eat is very hard to make use of. It's got a very small hitbox, so it's exciting to see a Mei ult get eaten. But we're going to see the next fight begin. Another great Mei wall coming in from Misfits that's splitting the team. They want to drop down. They need to get their team out of there.
Yeah, and they're backed up in this awkward corner. Sarah's just going to get eaten alive like a pack of piranhas, and the Valkyrie just doing so well to just make this fight so clean and quick. And I think honestly right now, Chaos, we're just going to see like a couple of dry pushes and make one last attempt with an alt economy that seems semi-efficient for the side of Licorice Whip.
Yeah, right now Peppermint Tea pretty much is going to have pretty much all their ults online. They did use a Mercy ult in that last fight. Very effective in the way that they were able to keep their team up and no deaths. They had a nice early pick there and nice rock from Draken to knock some people on their butt. That's one of those fights you really don't want to see though, where the Mei wall comes up and the Ryan kind of moves too far forward where he doesn't have the team, and the Ryan, they died a bit early, so we're going to see hopefully again here. The Mei wall is going to come out, separate them again. They need to stay grouped up though. That's what I like to see.
Good concussion coming in from Tomiko does help them out a little bit. And I mean, that was not the most effective Death Blossom, so they're still able to stay alive. Able to keep Sarah alive as well. This is pretty huge. However, Sarah is so far away from coming to get this Earth Shatter, and they're just going to go down one more time. But they only invested into the Coalescence. 30 seconds remaining. I mean, there's still a chance here.
Yeah, I think they actually have a bigger chance than most people would think right now. Their ult economy, kind of don't like the change coming in here from Cythera. A bit late for a change to the D.Va. You don't need stall. You have time on the board. Your Pharah is there to touch. This is going to make this last fight difficult. You just lost one of your big ults there on the Zarya, possibly. And Kitten going out
what happened?
early. She just dropped. Unfortunately, the Pharah went too far and Kitten.
Oh, that's why they did. That's why they did. They wanted to eat the Blizzard. I think they were trying to read into that. But yeah, losing Kittens, no Valkyrie coming in. That's your main healer gone. Your Tomiko's just going to go down with the health that they have. That's really unfortunate. There's nothing.
Yeah, it's one of those fights where you really see Tomiko seem to. I don't know if you were watching. She seemed to get a little bit over aggressive there. Really was a little bit anxious to get on the point. And unfortunately, the Mercy was in such a position where she was not able to use Guardian Angel back onto the Pharah. And that really cost them in the end, losing your Mercy res so far early in the fight. So, and it looks like we have quick play rules on, unfortunately, and they took point A, so, but I don't believe they got a tick there on point B, or did they?
They did not.
So, interestingly enough, I don't know how we're going to do this. I'm assuming we're just gonna have to do it in a way that if they get a tick on point B, then they will win the map. But
Yep.
welcome to Owlet, my friend. Scuff games, scuff streams, and everybody's broken dreams. But in all honesty, this is going to be the usual. So it looks like we have it swapped now. I think
Yep.
I'm lost a bit. The
We
colors,
are.
the teams got swapped, and the colors got swapped now too. So, so in this case, we do have Licorice Whip in the blue now, and on the right side we have Peppermint Twist Peppermint Tea in the red. So going to this next fight here. So I guess they just have to take a tick on point B to win, technically, but
Yep.
so I don't think we're gonna rerun that entire thing. But
Well, there's no reason to, because basically they feel held. So
yeah, well, full health point B, not really full held, but
yeah, well, yeah, that's
yeah.
what I meant. My bad.
Yeah, no, I know what you meant. But yeah, so we're gonna be getting in. Yeah, so hopefully we'll get that all sorted out and ironed out the next game here. It's not a huge deal. It can't be any worse than that time in one of the playoff maps where the game I was helping to produce and cast had a glitch on what's it called, Anubis, and the team lost even though they were on point in overtime. And oh man, that was a fun situation to be in there. Overwatch, game of the year, broken still, but love it anyway. We're gonna see the sim strat coming out here again, but we're seeing a bit of a different we're gonna be a bit of a different position here, but we actually have the Torb coming out from Espresso, which is interesting. I don't quite know what the Bastion's doing, but we're gonna have to see the sim strat here.
Well, they're already set up on the point, not set up on the high ground. So I mean, that TP strat is kind of not all for naught, but they have to do it in a different way. They have to go the long way around, and they certainly will be able to do that. Though,
Yeah, a bit slow here, but a nice rotation coming in here on the side of Peppermint Tea because they realize they can't go directly to point. The rotation. Oh no, Draken falling down there.
we'll see what happens. Yeah, Drunken Monk already shut down, and I mean, I think the TP order was a little bit skewed because they sent the Bastion in there first, and that kind of shut things down for them.
Yeah, it was a bit of a messy engage there coming out from them. I'm not sure if Draken meant to fall down, if they were trying to rotate further and they just had to adapt because he got yoinked down. In that situation there, you kind of, I feel like the best option you have would actually be to TP to the top window and shoot into them from there and kind of hit their back line. They have some options. I'd like to see them maybe try the rotation one more time, but it looks like they're going to change their strategy and go for the Doomfist instead. The Sombra here could be huge, though.
Sombra could be huge, especially with the fact that they have a good amount of time in the time bank to just basically rock with this and just EMP. They could just be dry pushing at the moment. Don't know about the Doomfist pick, especially with the Torbjorn turret. That's going to be able to shut things down. Molten Core as well. Just a lot of damage, and there it is, one by one. Espresso. They're cooking up something for you. It is not just a hot cup of coffee. It's just a hot cup of defeated tea.
Molten cum. Hot cup, molten cum.
Okay.
But yeah, we're actually going to see the Reinhardt coming out here too now. So we're going to see the double shield. The Sombra here, looking forward to hopefully maybe that... The turret's in actually a pretty good spot here, gain some early damage. No one really paying much attention to it either.
Yeah, they're kind of oblivious to it. Kiddens almost has Valkyrie along this Supercharger. Supercharger could be just absolutely devastating here. They're going to be having to go through a lot of dry push. Here comes the Coalescence. I don't know if this will help out too much. They do manage to get to Miko for huge, but the Supercharger comes out. And they're able to get the res. Earthshatter comes in. The shield was not there, so they will be able to get quite a few players. And I think that's just going to be really it.
Yeah, this is a nice fight coming out here from the side of Peppermint right now. Maybe a bit of an overcommitment with the ults right now. Seems like the fight's pretty much already won here, but that was a very good use of the Earthshatter there to get like one of the supports to get the team in the back line and be able to knock out some of the key players in that fight there when you have that opportunity. It's not all about getting the big shatters as a Rhyme player, it's about getting the people who matter.
Yeah, very true. Well, all right, Drunken Monk, though, even though it was an expensive push coming in from the side of Peppermint, they do have the EMP coming in very, very soon, which could just easily allow them to win a fight right away. We'll see how
Yeah,
this
EMP
works.
might actually be their win condition here, I think, Bemmie. I think that's going to be a huge opportunity for them here, especially with the comp that Licorice Whip is running. May's looking like she might be in trouble here, too.
Nice bubble, though. Does keep them alive. Stabilize. Espresso almost at the Molten Core again, so that does allow them a little bit of crowd control. So they want to stay in that back line a little bit just to avoid the EMP if they can when it comes online. 4% away. Flux, though, could be huge. Managed to find Cythera. Tamiko gone as well. They may not even need the EMP, but they drop it anyway just to make sure and solidify their dominance on the point right here. And this is looking pretty good. They only just need to really just take one tick and that's it. They just win. So
Yeah, I guess we're going to continue the fight here. I'm not really sure. I think technically speaking, they've
yeah,
already
no, they're
won.
hanging out in spawn.
Yeah, yep. So, yeah, Peppermint pulling out another win here. One of those things where you have that opportunity and you're already on the cusp of victory. I think throwing everything in at that point is okay to do. I don't think there's too much wrong with that.
Sure, I
Espresso, though, I was looking forward to maybe seeing another old, Molten Core come out there. Beautiful use of it here on point A. Just really laying down damage. Once that lamp was down with the actual Molten Core,
oh
just very clean. I'd like to see a bit more Torb. I feel like almost he would be actually more useful than a lot of people give him credit for going into this double barrier meta. You can do a lot of damage against that with
yeah.
the Torbjorn. Not saying at higher
Overload.
levels, but I feel like at this level of play, with playing into, I think Torb definitely has a little bit more use than a lot of people realize.
Well, actually, I think there's some merit in some of the higher levels as well because uh I mean, to give you an example, Engineer from Clockwork Vendetta of the EU contenders area, they use the molten core in a way that does crowd control very very efficiently, and on top of that the overload is much in the same way like a Hanzo Storm arrow where it outputs so much damage at a fast pace that it kind of puts you in this area where you don't know what like how long your shields could last, because then basically the torb has pretty much a good way of just clearing the way for the rest of the damage to come in, and also set up pretty good crossfires with the turrets if you know where to place the turret, not just out in open anywhere or in front with the rest of your team. But like a good flanking turret sometimes can catch off guard, just does that little bit of extra damage that you need to, and it just totally ruins everybody's day.
Yeah, he does offer some really interesting strats, I think, too, and I've seen him used in many interesting ways at the higher level. I just feel like he can be easier countered, oftentimes at
For
those higher
sure,
levels as well.
it's not an S
Um,
tier choice.
but I think that's, one of those things where you saw it a lot also in Overwatch League and stuff too, where people would be able to pull him out in these interesting ways, or not even just him, but other characters in general that aren't considered meta right now, and they become these unexpected picks and these strategies that have ended up pulling some teams through some very difficult times. Oh,
Yeah. So,
and
well, we'll have to wait and see how it works out for other maps, but I don't think we're going to see Torb again, though. It was really good, though. I really like the
no
idea
hammer
because they were
kills though, which is a bit disappointing.
no hammer kills is unfortunate, but not the end of the world. I agree, though. A good hammer kill it solidifies dominance, and I think if you get the hammer kill, you should automatically win the map.
If you
Just
don't
because
dance on their corpse after getting a hammer kill, are you actually a Torb main? These are the questions that I
I
have.
don't know. We'll have to ask people like Engineer and
Why not just
Discs.
ask Espresso? They seem to know what they're doing.
They probably do. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
that's
ask
cool.
Espresso.
But
Uh,
oh, looks like we're
into
going to Havana, Kings Row. One of those two. I think Kings Row. Yeah. So my producer has just informed us we're going to Kings Row. So exciting map. I personally love Kings Row. Especially as a Rhyme player. So many walls to hide behind and charge people into. Kind of hate it though
everybody
too,
loves
because
King's
Doomfist
Row.
always punching me into a wall. But
Yeah, or Reaper drops
Lonzo
from
Widow.
on top of the high ground.
Yeah, there's some fun plays. I'm interested to see how they decide to do it. If they decide to keep maybe playing the Sigma, I've been seeing a little bit more Sigma as we've been going through. Maybe the teams are kind of falling into a little bit more comfort with him.
Could
But
be
we've
that.
definitely been seeing a little bit more of him. Um, Definitely not like perfected yet, I think. In a lot of ways, some really good plays here or there. Like for example, you saw Cythera get that almost what was it, quad kill, I believe. Um, close. They ate and then got I think three. Uh, the male. But you saw that. You saw Drake and Bake really making the rock work for him there. Um, and I think we're probably going to be seeing the Rhine out. I've noticed that Orissa's still not very popular at this level of play, even though she's extremely strong. But we're seeing her with the Torbjorn, with the Bastion meta, or not meta, but Bastion like composition.
Yeah.
And I think we might see her here on King's Row, but I feel like we might see some Rhine instead. Maybe a Rhine, another TP.
I think it's because of that they don't know what to do with the low mobility, so they're just like they feel absolutely vulnerable. So they like to have that Rhyme because you at least can disengage a lot more quickly, or the Winston as well. We saw a couple of Winston swaps, not as much, just because Winston can get just such can get bullied by the Reapers so quickly, and then
Oh,
also with
you
the
bully
fact that
me.
the yeah, and
Why you
then
bully
also
me?
there's also the May as well. So then it just gets kind of frozen, and they
Yeah,
just
the May. I did not want to be playing Overwatch during the May meta. I regret everything. But yeah, we're currently pretty much in like the May Reaper sim meta, and life is hell. But but you know, for May players and stuff, this is their golden age. So enjoy it while you can till she's nerfed into the ground.
I'll keep trying to enjoy it then.
There you
Uh,
go.
but yeah, I think we're ready to go, and I think Kings Row, like again we said, I think honestly, it's much in the way of like games like CS:GO. It's the Dust 2 of Overwatch, where just kind of like it's the map everybody's the most familiar with, and it's the map that you can kind of do a lot of stuff with. You have so many options to play a different comp every time, and also do a lot of different unique tech choices. There's one comp that I do see tried and true sometimes, and we may see it, which is back in the old days where Deathball was getting really, really popular outside of Dive, and it was the grab Hanzo Dragon Strike combo that was really big, where it was just a lot of pretty much back and forth drive pushing, and whoever had the better Zarya charge won, because basically
Oh, I wonder
Hanzo
how
would
this
get that.
happened. It appears we might be having an issue with the what's it called, game right now. It hasn't quite started yet. There we go. Um, so there we go. Still nope, still not enough. There we go. Okay, game started now, and we're about to get started here in just 30 more seconds here on Kings Row. This could be it though. Peppermint Tea up 2-0. And I mean, we're gonna be playing all four maps anyway. But I think this is the moment that we have to see Licorice Whip really pushing back against Peppermint. And man, I feel like I'm in Candyland.
Right?
You
It's just
know, yeah.
it's such a sweet match.
Yeah, except as a guy who just got his wisdom teeth out, it's kind of making me angry. But,
Oh,
you know, it's one of
okay.
those situations. Uh,
You live with it. And are you honestly a fan of licorice?
it depends on the type. Talking like black licorice or red licorice. Red licorice is nice and sweet. Black licorice tastes like dead people.
Oh, you've had that before?
What, dead people or black licorice?
Oh, well, dead people.
Depends who's asking.
I'm not a cop. Well, either way, we're going to go ahead and look at the defense here. Just switch that topic around a little bit. Seeing the Ashe here, I'm honestly not too big of a fan of the Ashe. I like the pharmacy, but I feel like there's a lot of times where they just kind of feel exposed and it gets claustrophobic. But much in the way of like Legion Tower, where there's really close encountered spaces, you can be rewarded for high risk.
Yeah, as you said that we are going to be seeing probably the Zarya grab dragon combo. This might be a bit hard for them to play into with this. The fire bomb from Ashe is going to be super effective here though, so we'll have to see how they make use of this.
Choice on the Sombras unique as well. Could get a hack. Kittens does go down. That's the healer gone for Tamiko, but they can hang out in the high ground. Both healers gone actually. As Earl gets zoned out by the rest of the team, and they tried their best to jump down and contest the point, but I don't know. They could have been a little bit more careful just because they had enough time and percentage to work with to just sort of go down there gracefully.
Yeah, unfortunately, their Licorice Whip made a very big first error in that fight. They lost their healers. Their healers, for some reason, both of them ended up on the ground for really no reason. And unfortunately, they really lost that fight because they lost their Mercy early, then their Moira went down, and without healing, you have no sustain against the composition like this that,
True.
as you said, is a death ball-y composition. They're sticking together. They're just slamming themselves into you.
Very much so, and they're going to be pretty much charging into you as well with this coalescence that's going to be absolutely big. We'll see what happens. They do also have the Earth Shatter coming in very soon. I mean, they've also been shooting these Zarya bubbles very quickly, so Draken's just at this ridiculous amount of damage and charge that breaks the shield almost every 3 seconds. Supercharger comes out. We'll see if it does anything for Licorice Whip. But there's the shield going down. The Earth Shatter comes in. Only finds Cythera. And the coalescence really nice from Pearl. Tries to keep the team stable, but interesting. Sarah charges in while the rest of the team disengages, and they're just kind of all over the place. And I yeah, I don't know what to say except they just got shut down very quickly. The Earth Shatter was pretty huge, and no, not everybody disengaged.
Yeah, he did a very good job of. The Earth Shadow was a very good use of actually being able to get the Diva. The Diva, to me, is a very questionable choice against the composition like this where you have a Death Ball comp. There's not a lot of incoming fire damage that you can really eat up with the Diva, especially with the range nerf. So you're ending up in this situation. Sombra getting caught out, though, with the hack, but the bubble's going to come in to save her right now.
I think the situation that they're trying to read in is eating the grab at the Dragon Strike. Just basically trying to deny that combo, which back in the day it used to be very helpful.
Yeah, I agree with you there. The only issue is with this composition, you have a situation where this charged up Zarya is just chewing her way through the Diva.
Yeah, it's very true, and Cythera does get caught off guard. I think if their positioning was a little bit more careful, it would be rewarded. But if your Diva is getting demeched very, very quickly, like you said, Chaos, I can't disagree with you that, I appreciate, the thought process that went through Licorice when they went into this comp, but it really didn't come out on top just because they either were a little too aggressive or they just didn't commit, if you will.
Yeah, unfortunately there too, we have almost 5 minutes left on the clock here for Peppermint Tea. If Licorice Whip is able to force their way through and make it all the way to point 3, we'll be going into, I believe, almost maybe possibly another round here on King's Row. Once again, make a full loop. It's really going to depend on the defense that Peppermint's able to put up here and what Licorice Whip pulls out. Licorice Whip has been pretty good on the attack so far. Not quite as good on the defensive, but their attacks have
Sure.
been pretty decent, especially on like the point control. So I expect them to be able to take point A with a good amount of time still in the bank. Big
Yeah.
concern to see them on the long haul. There wasn't much stopping power they had. Really didn't do much to put the gears grinding and stopping that payload on the defense there. So I think we'll probably be seeing Peppermint really trying to put that the brakes on there. They have the Pharah, they've chosen to do a Bastion composition here. Looks like they're going to do double shield around the Bastion. So that's going to be here. Interestingly enough, it looks like we might be seeing a dive of some kind. Hamster Winston coming in
Yeah.
on the side of Licorice Whip. Interesting comp. Interested to see if Espresso actually stays on the Widow. They'll be looking for the picks. A bit difficult into the double shield. So this is going to be interesting to see what they can do with this right now.
Wait and see what happens. I think definitely point A will be taken. I think the bigger question for me, though, is just my concern is where. Well, I'll bring it up in just a bit as they sort of throw the lamp in an interesting place. Doesn't really help out with their case. Misfit just kind of just going to be left uncontested. I don't know where Espresso is. They're just kind of hanging out by Double Decker, but this doesn't give them a good line of sight against the Pharah. And also the pharmacy is still pretty good. They're using this cover to their advantage right now, Chaos.
Yes, but you also see you have Licorice Whip actually kind of playing around in the background. Not really quite in danger right now on coming from the side of Peppermint's kind of forward facing, but you have like that Reaper in the back line, possibly looking to get an early pick here, maybe on the Baptiste. If they can get that Baptiste and eliminate that lamp from the fight, might be a GG. We'll have to wait and see.
See
Well,
what they
lamps
can
are
do,
actually going to
Lamp.
come out already.
Yeah.
Destroyed one by the Bastion. That's huge for killing Winston here, but they're making use of that telephone booth beautifully to kind of protect themselves.
Doing what they can. Ground pound as well. Bubble does buy them a little bit of time. They're really just trying to shut down this Bastion. They finally get it, but I think the res is ready, and there it is. And the Matrix comes out, and this is going to shut them down. Just so much shield chaos. Just a lot of shield.
Yeah, unfortunately in this situation, it looks like what I'm seeing Licorice trying to do, which is a really interesting strat, is to be able to throw the Baptiste lamp in to protect the dive, which would probably work if there wasn't a Bastion there deleting it in 0.3 seconds.
Yep.
Unfortunately, you're playing into this, and that's going to be difficult. They do have the Baptiste ult online, possible to melt that shield finally, but they've given up a lot of ults with swaps now, which is going to make these last couple fights difficult. Nice minefield though.
Yeah, minefield with coalescence comes out. Lamp does get in the back, and it's in an interesting area where it's inside the hotel area. So now they're just pretty much alive. And they use tank mode to get drunk and mugged with 2, and the Misfits follows up, raining from above, just able to fall. Just
Once again, though, it's a bit of an overcommitment here, I think, coming out on the side of Peppermint. You use your Pharah ult. Now the ult economy's kind of been reset. Not a huge threat because we're seeing changes here coming in on the side of Licorice, but they did manage to get a tick there. Unfortunately, no one was on the point, and they were able to kind of sneak a tick through. So that might be good for them in the long run here, but we do see the pharmacy coming out, which is what I like to see, a bit of a change up, going against this Bastion here, make use of the hotel, and get that Bastion out of the fight.
win that duel as well. Tamiko's just kind of relying on winning this fair duel very much, so I don't think the Hanzo's going to be helping out too much. They're just going to be focused on breaking the shields and getting them heads. Let's see what happens. Matrix comes out, slows down.
We're about to see a sneaky Rhine charge.
Waiting to see what happens here. Yeah, they do have it ready. They do manage to get the Orisa. Orisa will go down. Nicely done.
The temporary shield break might be enough here in this fight to bring them into this one, Bemmie.
Yeah, it most likely will, and we'll see what happens. Misfit able to get, however, the pharmacy. Dragon Strike comes in, backs them off from a corner. Can they get the second tick? Looks like they're going to be able to, but I mean, there's still a good amount of members.
Oh, they're very close. That immortality field might save their team right now.
Maybe, we'll see. They are focused on the lamp. Good target prioritization, and the Reinhardt hammer is still swinging. However, Yojo's able to come by. There's still the Valkyrie coming in, looking pretty good. Looks like they will just barely get this point, Chaos.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of cleanup here. 15 seconds left on the clock. Does not leave them a whole ton of time to get through point B here. This is where they need to get aggressive, though. They just got some late kills. It's going to be a bit of a hard spawn. It's not like Hanamura where the spawns reset. They have an opportunity here. Get aggressive. Take out that Sigma who's being overly aggressive. That could be huge for them, but the Maywall is going to actually save him. Very nice use of the Maywall there coming in from Misfit. Peppermint's going to back off from this fight here.
Yeah, giving some space. They pretty much have the win condition either way. They have advantage in time bank, and they have pretty much not advantage in all, but they do have just pretty much a lot of space to work with in a lot of ways. Tamiko goes for the flank with the barrage, able to find 2. A lot of that damage is eaten by the Sigma, but is it enough? I don't think so, as they just keep on going. Earth Shatter comes in pretty huge, and the rest of the team fall out. A great Fire Strike as well, just to keep going. Only have one person pushing the payload, though, so it's a little bit slow.
Oh, you hate to see it. You hate to see it. A Reinhardt plastering another Reinhardt. Looks like they're going to try to speed up the payload a little bit here. Probably a smart idea. This is one of the moments where you can kind of back off and give up a little bit of space to get that payload in, I think. Because you're kind of splitting your team. Tamiko's actually making a really good progress, but we're going to lose Kitten early. She doesn't really have it, and this could actually turn very bad for them very quickly here.
Yeah, this is looking very sour. They're just losing everybody in the process. So close. And now this is where, Peppermint can take the initiative and kind of make things awkward and push at that choke, because literally they can just burn time off the time bank, and that's a win condition for them.
Yeah, aggressiveness here is really good to see on throw. Over-aggressiveness, though, can be a pain. You see it a lot where people will get that advantage and they think that they can keep that space. But unfortunately, one of their major healers, their Moira, which is the healer for this Death Ball comp, is back on the point. Tamiko's back on the point, moving it. The Mercy's in a bad position. She doesn't have anybody to run to. I think they're going to be able to take this.
Oh, okay.
A nice early pick, and Dragon Strike's going to come out as well. Yeah, it looks like they're
Does
going to be able to take point B. Nice clean
since
fight coming in here.
yeah, sends them in disarray. Yojo goes down, and Coalescence is just going to pretty much put the final nail in the coffin of this fight. However, with this, they don't have too much time to work with now in the last phase of King's Row.
Yeah, as you said there too, Peppermint really didn't have to win this fight. It's all about ecking time off there. Don't know why Dragons is really coming out here though. Bit of an odd time to use it. Charge going in on the Zarya, and a bit of an odd choice. Maybe a swap might be coming in here from Misfits?
No, I think this was just a very honest commitment that they thought they could maybe come in clutch and not worry about having to fight another 90 seconds of King's Row and close it here and now. But I don't think they're going to be too substantially punished for this. They do have the spawn advantage coming in for them since they are on defense, but we'll wait and see. Earth Shatter comes in, shield is gone, and this is pretty huge. Coalescence comes, everything, yeah, clean up. It's really nicely done here. Super clean. 60 seconds remaining. What do you got to do here? You're switching a lot here.
This is one of those tough situations where I think they're very low on time. They only have 60 seconds left on the clock. Right now, it's all about finishing this map and getting to a next round at this point. And then you got to worry about a full hold or at least taking the point and just going in overtime. They are going to have a very difficult time winning this, but as you said, ults are losing. Their win condition right now is going to be that Shatter. Going to be that Moira Coalescence. Those are the two big things. But they're going to lose Sarah early, and that's going to hurt them.
Yeah, and even if they didn't lose Sarah early, that's just so much shields coming in from the Sigma Reinhardt. The double shield, again, the meta is just so big because now they're getting pushed back here. 30 seconds remaining. I don't know. It's Chaos, what do you do here? You have the ult advantage, but is it enough?
This is one of those moments where you have the ult advantage. You're going to have to full commit. You need to get somebody on that point, and you need to commit to this fight. You cannot be afraid to use your ults, and you need to make an opportunity. You have 9 seconds left. But the Shatters are going to come out, kind of cancel each other out. Don't really do much there.
Don't really do much. The Transcendence comes out, and that's just going to solidify everything. The Wick is going to go down, and Chaos, we're just going to see them take the series, but can at least maybe Licorice Whip take the next map?
I think it's quite possible. Teams tend to loosen up a bit on the fourth map in a 3-0 situation, and map percentage does matter here in Owlet. So, it's one of those things. I see it quite often where teams like this that are somewhat, similar in skill level, one team's gonna ek out on top like this quite often, and maybe they just have a better tank line, maybe they have better DPS, maybe they're better on the map. Lots of situations. But the thing to remember is they're gonna loosen up. They've already won. Pressure's off now. So this is an opportunity for Licorice Whip here to take a map, and that's what they really need to do.
Take a map, try some new things that they're maybe not as comfortable on.
I think we'll probably be seeing that coming out from Peppermint a bit more than anybody else. We might see some odd compositions come out, maybe a Torb, maybe Sim TP onto the moon. I don't know. But the thing is, you're right. It is still very early in the season for Owlet. So, I'm not gonna say these games don't matter because they do. But at the same time, it's new season.
Gotta look at the bigger picture.
New people. You got to kind of get used to your team and fall into it.
Yeah, and you gotta look at the bigger picture as well, just because.
Oh, I do have more command strips. Sorry.
Okay, but either way, we're moving on to Vina, and where can Licorice Whip's playstyles be complemented here on Havana?
Havana is one of those really in my opinion, I like it. A lot of people don't like it. I think Havana's fun. There's something about it.
I agree.
It's fun. It's a pretty well designed map. Point 3 does have its issues, but that's true with any map on Point 3. Defense is always going to have huge advantage. I think Licorice Whip has been doing a really kind of good job with their DPS when they really get in there and they can start working. Once they get a pick, they're able to kind of move in. They're able to capitalize on it. Little bit, messy. I'm not gonna lie. They're very messy as far as their strategies are concerned, and they kind of sporadically do stuff like the Rhine charge that secured them point A on there. Not something you would normally see, but it ended up working out for them. Once that happened, though, they're able to get the DPS in, and they're able to win these fights. Havana is that type of map where you can really snowball since it's an escort map, you're going to really see that, I think, especially on like point A. Point B is going to be where they really struggle, in my opinion. It's tough to get through the factory. Point C, I'm not even sure. But I think point A, they're going to get it very easily here. At least on attack. On defense, they might struggle a little bit more. But I have a feeling that they're at least going to be able to make use of maybe either the Ash or a Pharmacy. Havana is one of those fun maps too, where point A is completely different from point B. It's a lot similar to, like, I'd say almost Watch Point Gibraltar in that way as well, where you have this kind of open space on the first map where lots of long sight lines, lots of sniper play,
I can definitely see that.
and you know, maybe some far. I see like you saw on stage 4 of Overwatch League, they used a lot of hog hooks and Orisa, but that's been kind of recently replaced with Sigma. So you're probably going to be seeing them setting up top, setting up at the corner. Looks like we're going to be seeing the Bastion coming out once again on the side of Peppermint. So we're going to probably be seeing, looks like they want to do a sim teleporter. So there's a lot of play on point A. Point B is a lot more condensed, and it's really tough almost to retake point B, like on Watch Point Gibraltar, where if you get stalled out, it's difficult to get in and find those openings.
It really is. And honestly, you can get shut down so quickly. We've seen so many full holds as well on Havana, on the Overwatch League, and a bunch of other games as well that I've seen it on, where you, really, if there's just so much open space and a lot of high ground vantage points, or just a lot of good cover for the defense side, that it really can just be to their advantage. We'll have to wait and see how this goes for them.
This is a very interesting play to completely abandon the payload and point of like a sim TP. Looks like they're going to be going the full roundabout here, and they want to get the kills early before they touch the payload. An interesting strat to be sure.
I agree with it though. Sometimes you want to win the team fight before you start pushing, because you don't really want to worry about the pressure of pushing the payload while also trying to win the fight. So multitasking, avoiding that, not a bad option as always. Seeing what they can do here. They're kind of squished between the two, and the Doomfist is not going to be helping too much here. I don't think it does lose Sarah in the process. Again, defensive formation is just going to be difficult, especially with the ice wall coming in from Misfit.
The strange part about this play to me is this is a very much so waste of time. If they win the team fight, then they're able to get progress. But right now, they've already lost a minute, and they've gained less than 20 meters. This is it's a very high risk, high reward play, I think, but it just really did not pan out for them there.
It was worth a shot for sure. You know, but they did their best and what they could. But they do have the coalescence, right? They have. It might have been actually just a dry push. Maybe they want to push with ultimates in the bank. But right now, they're just going to get shut down by this Matrix and Supercharger as well. A really little bit of overkill coming in from Peppermint, but I mean, oh, even the Blizzard too. But they really just want to stop production on this at all costs.
They did give up a lot of space there. A little bit too much. No one really got on the payload to stop it. I think they had the opportunity with the Sigma to do so. Now though, they can kind of set up shop, and Peppermint can really kind of sit there and kind of, I don't want to say camp, but they can, you know, protect very well where the payload is. Licorice is gonna have to fight their way up, but we're actually seeing a rat, which excites me because the extra damage is what they need to really break these shields, and it might allow them to be able to get the Bastion as well.
Huge fan of the Junkrat for the spam damage, and I think it's really strong. And also on top of that, tire charges up really fast, so you could definitely get something out of here. We see the Flux come in. Sarah does go down. They do have at least the Sigma. It's not much shield, but it's at least something. But nice ice wall, just good target prioritization. Gets shut down once again. Just really smart disengaging coming in from Peppermint.
Yeah, Peppermint there did a really good job of keeping their Sigma up as well. In that situation there, you see the ult advantage is definitely in the favor of Peppermint right now as well. They have 3 ults online, coming up on their 4th with the Baptiste ult, and their 5th and 6th are not far away too at 60%. The ult economy is definitely not in the favor of Licorice right now. They need to make something happen. They need to get a dry push going here and lose some of those ults from Peppermint. Peppermint's been a little bit over committee, but it's going to come in right now.
See what they can do here. Misfit really just stopping any kind of push here. They really want to keep this position where the Bastion is just kind of able to cycle shields and look really strong. Huge ice wall and a res. I can't even believe that. That is amazing that Mercy was able to get away with that. As they're going to keep pushing through, the Matrix will come in once again. And we'll see if they can find anything here with the Matrix. Doesn't seem to be the case. They're just kind of disengaging slowly but surely, but they're letting out in space. But the Blizzard Halt comes in, and they're able to get Sarah tank modes as well, just to follow up and do in the most optimal amount of damage. Again, a lot of commitments with the ults, but it's 15
Yeah, I would have liked
remaining.
to see them hold that supercharger a little bit longer there, especially for this last fight coming in. This might have actually just given Licorice a chance here if they can touch the point. There's not many ults left online. Drake and Bake really has the key right now to the victory here on the side of Peppermint. If the touch comes through, Diva on point, but she's going to very quickly get demeched. And here comes Orisa with the supercharger.
Supercharger comes out, Espresso. They could potentially get Nano boosted here if they want to, or it's going to go on over to Sarah if maybe they can at least get the Riptire. There's a lot of options here. Get the remake. They're still alive. Riptire comes in. They're seeing what they can do here. It goes over the ice wall. Gets the double kill. Able to find Misfit and Alia. But they go down thanks to the power of a good old Sigma. And I'm thinking they're actually not going to be able to push enough. And they still win the fight, Peppermint.
Yeah, Peppermint there did a really good job kind of just maintaining ground. Espresso, fantastic tire.
Yeah,
just kind of poor positioning with where you set it off. It kind of seemed more of a desperate attempt, but it was a great use of the tire. Just if they were a little bit more forward, the shield would have protected them a bit better. And I think they might have been able to bring that one back. It was very, very close. They really needed the rat to take out the Bastion there, and it just wasn't there. Peppermint, you saw though, once again overcommitment on the ults. And they ended up with Draken's ult there, and they were able to get Kittens once again on the Lucio. And unfortunately, you know, very, very quickly, you saw that kind of turn. You lose a healer here, you lose your healer there, you lose your DPS, and this fight's over before it started.
Why do you think the overcommitment of ults is not getting punished by Licorice Whip? Is that target prioritization coming in from Peppermint just that good?
It's more, I think, of the issue of the overcommitment really is coming in towards the end of the fights, and so Licorice Whip isn't really taking advantage of it, as in they're not being, I feel, aggressive enough when that overcommitment happens. Plus, with all the switches that they come in, they have nothing to really punish with a lot of the time. You notice they swap to different characters pretty fairly often. And the issue there is you give up these ults that you could be punishing with. As you said, dry pushes aren't a bad thing. And oftentimes you kind of wish that you would see more dry pushes coming in from Licorice Whip, where maybe they don't use a tire here or they don't use an ult there. You saw the Sigma ult. That would have been huge in the last fight. They only got Draken with it, and it didn't even result in anything. If that had been held, I think they could have punished those overcommitments more when they didn't have the ults in their favor.
Yeah, quite true. And already off the bat, Espresso, and look at Drunken Monk. They're setting up for this really Sim Bastion obnoxious comp that a lot of people have to go through, where it's just a wall of turrets and fire. But they're slowly but surely pushing, and you don't want to give too much ground if you're on the side of Licorice Whip. Nice anti right there. Almost gets Yojo down. They drop down to the point as well, and they're able to get them. Follow up. Good job. Want to keep their Orisa alive, though. Seems like they're able to do
turning into a very
pressure.
close fight here with a lot of trades back and forth. Nice res coming in, though, by Ayala.
I'm gonna agree with you on that one. Misfit switching over to the pharmacy as well, pretty big. Tomiko going down. They managed to get the ground. They are holding their ground, but for how long is the bigger question. With no Baptiste, they don't have an immortality field, so they can't really eat that damage too much. So Tomiko goes down once again. The res was already used. Misfit just really uncontested in the sky. They finally get caught, but the damage has kind of already been done. The player advantage coming in, and they have the res from Yella, so this is going to be used with the barrage here, and that's going to pretty much just be the cherry on top. They do stun it with the rock, but they're still alive, and yeah, they're just getting taken out one by one. I don't think there's really much they can do on the side. Licorice with Peppermint's just going to take a very clean fight and take this 4-0.
Yeah, I got that kind of caster curse going on there. I thought they were actually holding that fight, and as soon as I said that, they lost the Bastion immediately to the Pharah, and I think that really sealed the deal there on the side of Licorice Whip. Bit unfortunate, because I thought they were doing a very good job there of actually holding that point fairly well. So we're actually going to see the tire here really quick coming in here, I think. But You have the Baptiste behind you. Great use of the tire to take out the Mercy and the May, but unfortunately you're in a position now where the Baptiste has already been putting damage on you.
Yeah, I think they were just kind of hoping that there would be some follow up after that, and just hoping that their team could go the rest of the distance, which is an admirable gesture as a Junkrat to just kind of leave yourself exposed, get down after the rip tire, and trust your team to be able to follow up after that.
Yeah, well, this match has gone 4-0 in the favor of Peppermint Twist, or as we've been calling them all night long, Peppermint Tea. Both are tasty, but uh, unfortunately, Licorice Whip was not able to eke out a win today, but they did very well. They played their hardest, I think. They had some
Yeah.
interesting plays, some of the better and more creative plays, I'd say, in today's match, with the Torb, with the Reinhardt charges and whatnot. So I look forward to seeing what they can do in the future here, maybe coming together as a team and, being able to follow through. Uh, Maybe like to see a little bit more aggression, but Peppermint on the other side, really seeming like they kind of have a good grasp on comms right now. I think that's going to help them. Need to work on that overcommitment, I'd say, a little bit with their ultimate economy, but at the
Yeah.
same time, that's going to hurt them in the long run against more difficult teams.
Certainly, and we'll just have to wait and see. Again, this is early in the season. This is only week one, so who knows? Maybe we'll see Peppermint, have a little slight decline later on in the season. Licorice Whip coming up and up, but we'll have to see that next time because we are done for today. Thank you very much to your production. Thank you to Chaos for being a wonderful color caster, and thank you to both of these teams for putting on a great show for us. Really good efforts from both sides of Licorice and Peppermint. But from until then on, catch us next time. Drop a follow on the Owlet Twitch channel, and thank you very much, and have a wonderful evening.